In this week's Parashat Balak, we have the story of the evil king Balak hiring his friend, the other Rasha, Bilaam, the prophet of the non-Jews, to come and curse the Jewish people. And the parasha, at first, looks like it's going to be a parasha of klalot, the curses that are going to come out of Bilaam, who had major kochot. But in the end, every single time that Bilaam opened up his tameh mouth, a Beracha came out. So it's actually the parasha where we learn about the brachot that Bilaam gave to the Jewish people. So I want to focus on one of the earlier brachot that he gives, or the start of his brachot section, when he first comes to curse the Jews. So he climbs upon the mountain to get a good look at the Jewish people. And part of this is practical. If you can see all of them, you can curse all of them in one shot at that exact moment with the exact word. Also, they say that he went on top. We spoke in the past that he saw part of the Jewish people, the tribe of Dan, according to some of the Midrashim, were spit out of the clouds because they were sinners. And he thought maybe through their sin, I can get some kind of achizah, I can grab onto them to curse them. So on a practical level, he's climbing up the mountains to see them. But let's look at the actual words and try to understand it from a more poetic or from a more prophetic approach. Says Bilaam, Ki merosh tzurim erenu. He says, I see them from the mountaintops. Umigvaot ashurenu. And I gaze upon them from upon the heights, from upon the hills. So says Rashi, Ki merosh tzurim erenu is based on the Tanchuma. That he learns ki merosh, because in the beginning is that he's actually seeing where their rosh is. Where do they come from? What is the beginning like? What is the source of the Jewish people? So as opposed to the simple pshat, ki merosh tzuri marenu, I climbed to the top of the mountain to see them, we're learning now more poetically that ki merosh, I was looking at their beginnings, and what did I see? So says Rashi, אני מסתכל בראשיתם ובתחילת שורשיהם. I'm looking at their beginnings, I'm looking at their שורשים, I'm looking at their roots. ואני רואה אותם מיוסדים וחזקים, and I see that they're established and they're strong. כצורים וגבעות, like these rocks, like these mountains and these hills, they are strong. הללו that are in front of me, על ידי אבות ואימהות. And what makes us strong? What makes our beginnings? What makes our roots strong? Because we're tapped into the roots of the avot and the imahot. The tzurim seems to be the avot. The gvaot seems to be the imahot. We are connected. He sees that the Jewish people are connected to our past. We're connected to our roots, and that's going to be our koach. That's going to be our strength. And therefore, from there, he goes on to expand upon his beracha for the Jewish people. So I saw a beautiful idea in last year's the Rebbe's table from Rav Shmuel Zucker. It's unbelievable stuff. So he says, okay, very good. So he sees that we're very much connected to our shorashim. He says Rav Zucker, if we're learning about brachot, if this is a parasha about a bracha, you should know that a bracha, to get a blessing, for the Jewish people to be the blessed nation, it all comes back to the shorashim, meaning the beginnings of our bracha. It all stems from where we're connected to. And since we're connected to our past, to our tradition, to our mesoret, we're connected to Avraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, we're connected to our roots, the avot ve'imahot. That's the koach from where the beracha is going to come from. So why is that? So he says, what does the word beracha mean? So we in the past spoke a lot about Baruch, the language of bet, Reish Kaf. Bet is 2, Reish is 200, Kaf is 20, 220, 222. It's all about the double. Bracha is all about it's all about doubling what you already have. But he takes the word bracha from a different root. If you open up Masechet, the Mishnayot of Kilayim, so the Mishnayot of Kilayim deals with a lot of gardening, a lot of growing vegetables. For those of you that are into gardening, this is going to be a great Dvar Torah. So it says as follows, the halacha. The halacha over there discussing hamavrich et hagfanim. If a person is mavrich the vines, what is that referring to? So if a person wants to create more vines, so what does he do? He'll take the fully grown branch, then insert it into the ground, and then that's going to take root, and now a new vine is going to sprout forth. So that's the language of mavrich. Mavrich is you take the vine, put it back down to the ground, and then it's going to grow even more and expand and create more. So he says, what's the language of Baruch, the language of Mavrich? Mavrich is about connecting back to the roots. When you look back to the roots, when you look back to where you came from, you bring yourself back to where you came from, connect back where you came from. That's the ticket to go even further, to grow even further, to create new vines to sprout for even more. So he says the language of Brecha. Brecha is the language of a wellspring. The wellspring comes forth from the bottom. There's a makor down below. There's a shorish. There's a root from where it came from. We've spoken in the past that Baruch also is the language of a berech, the knees. That's why some have the custom Ashkenazim when they do the Amidah, when they say the word Baruch, they bend their knees. Language of a berech, and this idea of bringing yourself lower. You lower yourself a little bit back to your roots. You go back to your roots. Look to where you came from, and that's the way you're going to get to the biggest bracha ever. Says Rabbi Zucker, he then takes us back to Avram Avinu. If we're going to go back to those Gvahot, we're going to go back to those Surim, those Harim, we're going to go back to our Horim, we're going to go back to our Avot and Imahot. So he says, Avram Avinu, Hashem tells him, you're going to be a Beracha. Why did he tell Avram you're going to be a Beracha? Because Avram Avinu is our Shorashim. He's our root. When we look back to our roots, and we connect to our roots, then through them, we're going to have the real Beracha. And he actually says beautifully, he says that Avram's nephew, Lot chooses to disconnect from the roots. He goes to Sodom. He wasn't supposed to leave Avram behind, but he left Avraham to go start his own way, and by severing himself from the roots, his name Lot is from the language of light, is from the language of curse. He now goes he now becomes the world of the klala, because once you separate yourself from your roots, if a Jew thinks that he's going to be successful by cutting off his Judaism, that's not where our bracha comes from. It's never been that way, and if you look at Jewish history, you'll always see this. Those that connect to their roots, those that always stay connected to who they are and where they came from, that's the ticket to really sprout forth the brand new shoots that we're looking to create. Shabbat Shalom.